Hi everyone, it's Jennifer here from Yellow Brick Road Farm, and with April, April, who just rolled in the garden. She won't be able to do this much longer. This is April, and she's our miniature horse. And April has a really special function here on the farm. She specifically gives lots of cuddles and lots of love. So again, it's Jennifer here from Yellow Brick Road Farm. We're doing session 3 of edible gardening for kids. And this is April, our therapy horse, who just got down and rolled in the mud after having a nice brushing and cleaning. But that's what horses do to get rid of parasites and kind of to keep themselves healthy. They get down and roll. So April is a 7-year-old miniature horse who originally came from Oaklawn Farms Zoo. And she was born with a locking stifle. Sorry, I lost my cameraman for a minute there. She was born with a locking stifle, and that means that her back leg drags. It was operated on, it didn't rehab properly. So April is basically not able to be ridden or used for carting or anything else that miniature horses are generally used for. But one thing that April, we found, is very, very good at is people. April loves people, and not just me. When I take her to Bayside Home in Barrington to see the older people there, the residents there, she will go in and she will set her face right on their pillow and wait for them to love her. She is very patient, very kind, and April is always first to the fence. She wants to rub. First to the fence to love people. So I just wanted to share April with you this week, specifically because I have been using her to have lots of love this week, because as you know, this week was a really hard week for me, or maybe you don't know, but I just wanted to let you know the lamb that we were going to have was too big for Willow to have successfully. So the lamb that Willow had was a really, really large male lamb, and it passed away while she was giving birth to the lamb. So unfortunately, it was a really sad time for her and a really sad time for me to see her going through that. There was nothing we could do. She's healthy otherwise, and we just wanted to make sure she was okay after a bit. It's hard to lose animals. It's really hard to lose, in particular, to see the animals mourning the loss of their own. So I just wanted to show you April, because April helps us get through during these times, and she's a wonderful therapy horse. As you can see, she loves snuggles, she loves treats. So so it's Jennifer from Yellow Brick Road Farm. We're going to get started on our edible gardening for kids session 3, and today we're going to be, we met April the therapy horse. She does lots of parades too. April loves parades, don't you? Parades and exhibitions. We have lots of things we're going to do today in the garden, and we are going to bury some underwear. I'm not going to tell you whose underwear I've got over there, but I will tell you that he's not home right now, so he's going to be really impressed that I buried his underwear later. Anyway, Luke's going to take you on a little tour over by the garlic and the peas. To show you what's been put in over there, and I'm going to put April in her stall while we do that. So again, it's Jennifer from Yellow Brick Road Farm. I'll be right back. I'm going to put April the therapy horse in her stall, and we'll have to give her a good bath later, and we are going to be able to see some other things in the garden today. So Luke's going to take you on that tour now. probably back there if you want. Yeah, so you can see everything. All right, everyone, it's Jennifer from Yellow Brick Road Farm here. It is a beautiful day in Stony Island, but we have had rain and heavy rain for quite a few days now. So it has been a little harder to get things done in the garden when it rains, but there's always things we can do. So the other day I started with the tiller. You'll notice I have the tiller over there. So I'm going to go over and give a little demonstration of how to operate a tiller. So this is just a manual an electric tiller, and I've tilled up this ground already. So this tiller is a yard machine, and I believe we got it at Home Hardware. It is not a hard machine to operate. You just want to make sure everything's clear before we do all that. So basically, if you're looking to operate a little tiller like this, you know, anyone can do this. Luke has done this. I have done this. Luke, do you want to come up and show? So when we get ready to start, you can wear safety goggles. I've plugged in the tiller, and I always make sure that my cord is behind me so I don't get the tiller caught up. But it does have a short out mechanism that if you do hit something, it stops, okay? So if it hits something it can't till up, it will stop. So button in, and it's got overload protection as well, which means that pops out, and that's when it just stops. Oh boy, I'm covered with horsehair. This time of year, there's not a horse person alive that doesn't look like this. Oh, but we leave the horsehair all in the garden, and we leave the horsehair all around the yard. And the reason we do that is for the birds. So they make their nests out of the horsehair. So we keep the horsehair flying all around the yard when we groom the horses and shed them out this time of year. So button in, and as you can see, just giving it a light till. The ground's really, really wet. So I'm not going to be giving it a big till today. I don't want to have to do this all the time. So the goal is to get my ground in the best shape that I can, so that eventually I'll just have to go over it with a rake, and I won't even need to till. But this ground is very, very good. I just need to give it a light till because I added lots of compost this year. So I just want to incorporate that into the garden. So just a light till. Now, if you're starting from scratch, which I know some of you are, you're going to want a heavy-duty tiller. Okay, so a heavy-duty tiller, and a heavy-duty tiller is going to be able to get down a lot deeper and remove those roots of the grass, and that's what's going to hold you up, or sort of give you so much weed growth it's going to really kind of harm your garden. It's going to choke out all the seeds that you're going to plant. So you want to make sure that you either get down in the dirt with a deep tiller. You can rent one from Terry's Rentals. I believe Wilson, the hardware stores sometimes have those to rent as well. Like I say, I got mine for Mother's Day 1 year, and it was the best present I ever got, and it has been 15 years strong, and it has been going very, very well. So this whole section is tilled, and it's ready to have the bed shaped. So today I just thought I'd give you a go over of how to shape a bed and how to put the divots in to start planting. It's really too wet to do this, and the way you can tell is that if you go down and grab the soil, and if it goes into a hard ball like that, it is too wet. I can feel the water coming out of the soil. So I can feel the water coming out of that soil. So it's really too wet to plant today, okay? So I'm going to probably wait until tomorrow to really do a good planting, okay? So what you want is, you don't want soil that's all dry and going to just like fall out of your hand and crumble and look like a dusty crust. You want this nice soil, but you want it to not stay together quite as firm as that, right? So you want to be able to have that. And you can see I'm pushing all of it down here, so we don't want to walk in the garden too much today because it's going to undo all my hard tilling. So Luke showed you, I have planted here, I have 2 solid rows of garlic. I have 2 solid rows of peas. And I did a mixture of, goodness, what did I do? Oh, early dwarf. And I did a mixture of King Tut purple. So I did those. I've left some room at the back because I want to put those sunflowers in later. And you can see here that the peas are starting. Now, remember I talked about all the hair with the horses and making nests? Well, this is the bad side of birds and the birds' nests being so close to the garden. Is that sometimes they'll come in and they'll try to peck up your peas or your seeds, okay? So sometimes I have to plant beans and peas a couple times before they take. These don't look too bad. I don't see too many holes, just a couple. I did have to plant a couple more cloves of garlic that I seen were dug up, but I think that might have been my chicken, one stray chicken that got in. So we're gonna come over here to the cold frame. WD-40 I had to grease up the tiller for the first use of the year. So we're gonna come up to this cold frame and you're gonna be amazed to see, look at all the green coming up. So Luke will zoom in there. So we have all this green coming up. Everything's coming up. Everything is giving a really, so this I planted really thickly. So you will see that this is planted really thick. So what I'm gonna do is when I probably am gonna wait till another set of leaves comes up and then I'm gonna thin these. So that means when I thin them, I'm gonna take out, I'm gonna leave probably a good inch or two. Whoops, bless you. A good inch or two. No COVID, right? That was just a sunshine sneeze, people. So we have 2 inches here that I would leave between seedlings. I would take the seedling out and I'm going to plant that in a bed out here. So I actually have used this as a seed starter as well. So I'm going to be able to transplant probably about half of these. So that was the beauty of me sowing them a little thickly and a little more thicker than I probably would have normally. I would have thin those out and use them as transplants out in the garden. So that is what's going on in the cold frame right now. So we talked about some garden tools. Sometimes when you till, you find all kinds of things. So we talked about some garden tools like the tiller. This is a hoe, okay? You're definitely going to need this to shape your beds, okay? So this is a hoe. This is a pitchfork, okay? This is a pitchfork, and I would say that probably this, and this are a trowel. Okay, this is a trowel for the garden, and well, this is my grandson's little set, so you can actually use this in the garden as well to turn and kind of dig up and loosen up the roots of weeds. So we have those as well. So I would say that those are your 3 or 4 main things for your garden. We've got a wheelbarrow here. We've also got a watering can. You're gonna also, if you have a large garden like myself, I'm gonna have a hose and a sprinkler set up on some T-bars, but we'll go up over that after. So I'm gonna take this hoe over to where we set some of the garden up. And then I'm just gonna start to form my beds. And so when I start to form my beds, and sometimes I do this with like a string to make sure they're all straight. Sometimes I don't though. But if you want to, you know, if you like, you know, your garden to look, you know, nice and symmetrical, and you want to make sure that it looks good, you can take a stake, tie a string to it, and put the stake at the other end, and that way it ensures that your row is very straight. So basically I just start with my rows. There. So that's a nice row right there. So then I use the end, Luke, then I use the end of my hoe and I make some divots. Now you can get a divot maker. These are quite big holes, to be honest, like, you know, so I wouldn't put like anything as small as a carrot seed or anything in that. But if I was planting beans, that's what I would do. I would put a bean in each hole, okay? And then I would hill up some ground over top, like I say, the ground is really wet today, and the danger in planting in a garden that's too wet is that your seeds will rot. Okay, they will mildew and they will rot. So you definitely want to make sure that you are planting on a day when the soil's dried out a little bit. So I'm going to finish putting some compost out today. I'm going to finish doing some other things in the garden, but definitely not going to start forming big beds until later. So, oh, okay. Then we have, so we have the hoe, and we can just use the hoe. You're going to tamp that down just a bit, tamp it down, and then you're always going to mark what you planted, okay? So you're always going to mark what you planted. So, with a garden marker, because believe me, you think you will remember, but you don't, okay? Now, if I was going to plant carrot seeds, this is what I would do. Okay? I'll use my hoe. There, and I'm going to grab some seeds. Just give you an example. So, carrots, I've got Chantenay carrots, and they're sweet and tender and excellent for freezing. They mature in 68 days. These are from Halifax Seed, and I believe I got them from Spencer's Garden Center. So I put a blog post up yesterday about where to get seeds. It has to be the number one question I'm getting right now. Where do I get seeds? So I put up 14 places you can get seeds. Some are shut down temporarily, but will be back up later. So carrot seed is very, very tiny. Carrot seed is so tiny. So guys, look, we're just literally, and this isn't exact, I'm just kind of going with it because I'm going to thin these out, right? So there. Okay, and I don't want to plant too many because I'm not sure they will take there. So we're just going to let them dry out a little. We're not going to cover them over today, okay? So we're going to let that dry out before I cover them over. So that's one row of carrots. You can do a large bed. You can do what's called square foot gardening, which is 4x4. You can do 4x4. And 4x4 square foot gardening is very popular as well. So that is fun. I got these really fun carrots called Ox Hearts. I'm really excited to plant those this year. These are from Baker's Creek, and look how big they are, short and fat. Look how fun. Anyway, so that's kind of fun. We're going to do that today. Oh, not today, sorry. That's going to go in this week though, for sure. So, birds, I talked about that, whether they're friends or foe. You met April. We shaped and put the divot holes in. Oh, water. So, we're talking about water. So I talked about not planting when your ground is too wet. You definitely need some water. But what you need is, you'll get a sprinkler or you'll get a hose and have an attachment on it that kind of will give some, put a nice spray of water on. You only want to water when the top of the ground feels a little dry, okay? You do not let the seeds or the plants get wilted or look like that. But you don't need to water every day either. If you've got really good compost, you've got a really good, what's that word we learned at the first session? Aquifer. You've got a really good aquifer that holds the water into the ground. You're going to be able to water like every couple days, right? And sometimes you'll be able to water on the session that you'll get on a schedule. Sorry, is what I meant to say, not session. You'll get on a schedule where you will be able to, just go every couple days, or you'll go with the rain, okay? And you can, look at the weather and keep track of that so that you know exactly. It's no good to water if you are going to have a big rain the next day, okay? So you want to wait, harvest as much of that natural rain as you can. So today, what else am I planting today, though? I am going to plant some sweet peas today. So now's the time you're going to put sweet peas in from Vessie's. That's what's going to go in today. As well, we talked about that, that you can put those in this time of year. Sorry, I'm not going to plant them today because it's too wet. So we talked about that. Did Luke take you over to the asparagus today? Did you? Is there any crowns coming up? No. So I haven't checked today, but I'm looking for asparagus crowns to start coming any day now. So I planted these asparagus roughly 2 weeks ago. And you dig a trench 6 to 8 inches down. You lay the asparagus in it sideways. The asparagus roots, I got them from it's French. I call it West Side Perennials, but it's Lausville Perennials. Okay, so and that is in Argyle, and I was able to get those from there. I'm really hoping to see some crowns start to come out soon. So anyway, this is all filled with asparagus heads. So. That's fun. All right. So, how are we doing for time, Luke? No? Okay. So, I'm going to talk about today burying your underwear. So, this is a pair of underwear. We won't say whose they are, okay? Charlie's, not Courtney's, not Logan's, but we're not going to say whose they are. Okay, so we have 100% cotton underwear. Okay, and the Soil Conservancy of Canada, and the Soil Council of Canada, they would like you to plant your underwear. And the reason why they want you to plant your underwear, and they want you to plant your underwear up to your waistband, okay, and they want you to leave them for 2 months. And the reason we're going to do that is because 100% cotton, okay, is an organic material. So, and we talked about organic matter in our gardens, right? We talked about organic matter being in our gardens and what that looks like with the, about how it breaks down things and how it's alive. So what we're going to do is make sure that our soil is alive. This is a test of soil health. If you want to know how your soil is, if you want to know if your soil's any good and what you need to add, I want you to go bury your underwear, okay? And at the end of 2 months, there should be almost nothing left. If you truly have good soil and you've added all kinds of things to it that are gonna, create that organic matter and make sure that the matter is, alive and got all those microbes that help make your food taste delicious. And that is what's going to break down the underwear, is those, the worms and the alive microbes and things like that in the soil. So we're going to plant these underwear, and I'm not sure where we're going to plant them yet. Luke, do you want to pick a spot? Right here? Okay. Luke picks right here. So I'm going to boil it. Now, we can plant underwear today. We may not be able to plant anything else, but we can plant underwear. Now look at those worms. So I have no doubt in my mind that these underwear are going to be gone in 2 months. So I want to see all your pictures, and I did get some pictures today. Thank you, Jenny, and some others that sent me pictures of their tomato slice starting to bloom, starting to grow. So they're starting to sprout. Your tomato slices, so I was really pleased to see that. I'm so glad so many of you tried that. So we're gonna plant this nameless person's underwear from our family in the soil. Oh, the ground is wet. We're gonna plant it up to the waistband, and the reason we don't put the waistband in is because it is not made of cotton. So that's like giving your soil McDonald's, okay? We don't want to give your soil junk food, and anything that's not natural in your garden is like junk food for your garden. Ooh, we want that big worm in there. All right. So we are going to plant those underwear right up to the waistband. There we go. And I cannot wait to see your pictures of your underwear when you're done. And be sure to actually tag me in those pictures. Or actually, send them to me now. Show me what you've planted. Don't go out and buy new underwear. Well, not unless you don't have any cotton ones, but I'm sure somebody's got some old cotton underwear somewhere. There we go. So, I'm always full of dirt this time of year. I'm always full of dirt this time of year. So we have planted our underwear. We have gone over the tiller safety. We have gone over tools in the garden. We have gone over some other things today about soil and what it looks like. The cold frame, how we're going to thin out some plants. The last thing that I want to talk about is what gardening can do for you. So, everybody, I just want to say that there is a gentleman named Monty Don, and he says that that not all children have to be interested in gardening. Not all children have to love gardening, but what is real shame and what should never happen is children should never have the choice not to. So that means that you should always try to surround yourself with garden people and garden, things that make you happy in the garden. And when children get a little older, and I probably got dirt all over my face now. When children get a little older, like Luke, he's 13 now, Charlize is 17. They don't want to dig in the garden as much as now. But now I have a 23-year-old, Courtney, who is very into the gardening. So she was into the gardening when she was little. She played in the garden every summer, all her life, and now she really wants to get back into growing her own food for her family. So we just have to let these cycles go. But I will tell you that gardening and getting outside, Monty Don said it best because he actually gardens to help his depression. So he's got depression and anxiety, and he's very open about that. And that is part of what helps him control his anxiety and depression. So I encourage you that if this works for you, to get out and garden, but if it doesn't, that's fine too. But I just want you to be able to have the choice. I want you to be able to have the choice to garden. Okay? It's Jennifer from Yellow Brick Road Farm. We have a lovely YouTube channel. You can hop on over there to catch up on sessions 1, 2, and this is session 3. And next week we're going to really get in and we're going to see what's coming up in the garden. We're going to talk about sprinklers and what else is growing in the garden and what else we can put in the garden. So this week I want you to get out there. I want you to get planting your underwear. I want you to get planting your potatoes, your carrots, your onions, your leeks, your peas, your beans, your early provider beans, okay, your cabbage, your turnip, all of those cold, hardy vegetables. If you want to extend and it's still really cold in your area, you can put a temporary hoop house or a temporary garden structure, plastic and hoops over your garden, with simple rocks at the end to sort of, hurry that season along. That can give you a couple weeks. So we talked about garden tools. We talked about that. We talked about what's going up in the garden. So plant your underwear, get started, and at least give yourself the choice of whether you'd love to garden or not. One more thing I'd like to show you before we go is the mint. So this is mint, and mint is one of those things that spreads like wildfire. So I will dry this later on. I'll use it in desserts and sweets and teas. And this actually is busting out of the pot. Look at this. So when you plant this in your garden, it takes over everything else, and it will choke out anything else you plant. So if you're going to plant mint, it's just your tip of the day, okay? If you're going to plant mint, and it is a wonderful thing to plant because it smells amazing, and it's such a fun thing to grow. I use it in my chicken coop in my nesting boxes. If you're going to grow mint, just make sure you do it in a pot or somewhere that you don't care if it spreads. Okay? It's Jennifer from Yellow Brick Road Farm, and I just want to wish you a very good week in the garden, and let me know how your tomato sprouts are doing. Well, there's April. And let me know how your underwear are doing.